Hey everybody, welcome back to another fantastic episode of Ready to Die Fighting. I'm Chris, and today I'm talking about something that's a bit different for the channel, but I think it's relevant, and even if it's not, it's my channel, I talk about what I want to. This is what's going on in my life. But I had a hysterectomy. It was, I think 4 days ago. And it hasn't been that bad so far. I seem to be recovering really well. And so that's exciting. The reason I got one is because I had uterine fibroids, which apparently is very common in women, especially black women, which I happen to be. And for me, I had them. They're also genetic. So my grandma had uterine fibroids and had a hysterectomy. And my mom, I don't think she did. She didn't have a hysterectomy. I don't think she had uterine fibroids at all. If she did, she didn't have any problems because of it. So I guess it skipped a generation and I got them pretty bad. If you have noticed, if you watch my videos and you ever thought to yourself, especially like a video where I'm wearing a rash guard, and you feel like, wow, Chris's belly is huge. It sticks out so far. You look pregnant. If that ever crossed your mind, that's because of the uterine fibroids. I was not pregnant. I've never been pregnant. But my uterus was the size of a woman's who was 5 months pregnant. So it was sticking out a lot, and it was very hard. Fibroids are basically non-cancerous tumors, or just really hard tissue that grow inside the uterus or on the uterus. My main symptoms of it was just that it was really uncomfortable. And they had grown so big, it was stretching my stomach out. I had on the side, I guess not my stomach, my belly. On the side, it was just bulging out, and it was not exactly painful, but very uncomfortable. It was also pressing against my spine, pressing against my bladder and my intestines. And it was just really uncomfortable, especially for somebody who likes to do things like jujitsu. There was a lot of techniques that I really just couldn't do. Like, it was just physically impossible for me, or it was so uncomfortable that I just didn't want to do it. So like back takes. Me being on the person's back. Like, if I was on their back, and especially if they like kind of leaned back against me and I was getting their weight on that fibroid, if I could kind of shift a little bit so it would not put the pressure directly on the fibroids, because they were more on one side than the other, then it was okay. But if I couldn't shift quite right, I almost wanted to tap from being in that dominant position. It sucked that bad. I couldn't sleep or lay on my belly at all. Very little tolerance for any type of pressure on my stomach or my belly. And then I also had a lot of lower back pain. Most concerningly is that fibroids can cause some cramping and pain. I was getting sharp pains along one side because it turns out they can outgrow their blood supply and start to die off. And as they die off, that hurts. Not feel good at all. But it also can cause really heavy and irregular bleeding and menstrual cycle. So at one point, I had like a 9-month long period. I don't know why I didn't go to the doctor. In retrospect, that was stupid. But I figured it was light and I had no cramping, but I just bled for about 9 months straight, maybe longer. And then towards the end of that, I had some really heavy bleeding. Heavy enough where, this is gross, but it felt almost like a water balloon popped inside me. I was at work, I stood up, and it just pouring out. And I was told that my face turned kind of white, and I was getting lightheaded and weak, and I ended up going to the hospital. And they said that I was severely anemic. Not anemic enough that I needed like a blood transfusion or whatever, but I had to start taking iron and kind of really stop doing some physical activities and stuff. I really couldn't at that point, even if I wanted to. It sucked. That was a few years ago. And then, unfortunately, a lot of stuff happened. I wasn't really able to take care of it. I kind of didn't want to anyway. I was like, well, they put me on some medication to stop the bleeding and everything. And I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's inconvenient, but it's fine. But then I recently, maybe not even a month ago, I had to go to the ER again because of bleeding. And this time it was just like, you know what, we can't be doing this. And it was even bigger. So I decided to finally have a hysterectomy. And so I want to talk about this journey of how this is going to go and healing and stuff, just because, I mean, I'm not going to be able to do a lot of physical stuff for 4 to 6 weeks, possibly 8 weeks. So it kind of just depends on how it goes before I'm back to normal. So I'm going to be limited. I'm not going to be able to do some of the more physical videos that I normally could, but also I think it'll be helpful for people because it is so common, and to let people know what it's like, what the recovery is like, and a little bit of education on it and awareness and whatnot. So it's so I'm a few days in, and for the most part, I feel pretty good. I feel like I am having a little trouble, like, talking so much. You do use your abs a bit when you talk, more so than maybe you realize. Laughing is horrible. Coughing is the worst. In my case, the fibroids were large enough that they couldn't do it laparoscopically, and they couldn't do it vaginally either. So they had to cut me open, and they cut vertically. It looks like a question mark, kind of, because they kind of cut around my belly button and then down. And it's a pretty big incision, but it hasn't been too bad. It feels so weird. There's a lot of swelling. It feels very poofy, but my stomach is significantly smaller than what it was, and it's soft, which is weird to me because I've had these fibroids since at least high school. They weren't as big, and at high school I had no idea what it was. I thought I just had abs. I thought I was just ripped underneath the fat or something. I didn't know what was going on. But for as long as I can remember, my stomach's been hard, almost like a basketball that's in there, and kind of very taut and stretched out. And now it's not, so it's really weird. And like when I laugh, it jiggles like a bowl full of jelly, like Santa Claus. I was never able to relate to that before. So that's where I'm at. As far as like the preparation I did, they said, yeah, 4 to 6 weeks before I'll be back to normal, 2 weeks before I can drive. The initial recovery after leaving the operating room, they said I should be in the hospital for 2 to 3 days. I was home the second day. I actually felt like the following morning, I felt pretty good. They said they wanted me to be able to walk on my own without feeling lightheaded or anything like that, being able to urinate by myself, because I originally had a catheter in, so they wanted to take that out, make sure I could, I was fine there. And I had to start passing gas before I could go home, which I thought was a weird thing, but that was something that's like, oh, okay. But basically I wanted to know that my digestive system was waking up, because I guess because of anesthesia, it puts your brain to sleep, but your whole body, really. And so they wanted to make sure that my digestive system was waking up before they sent me home. And so by the second day, by lunchtime, I was good to go. And so, yeah, I don't remember what time it was, but it was shortly after lunch. We didn't even eat lunch in the hospital. And it was like, we're good. We're going to go home. So that was nice. Let's see, something that I've learned from this, or something that was helpful. Definitely go slow. The following day, I went on a walk. We went maybe 3 blocks, and it was too much. I felt good, like everything was fine, and we were walking slow, and we went about that maybe like a block and a half, 2 block mark, and I felt like I kind of needed to take a break in the shade a little bit, and I was kind of like, oh, this kind of sucks. I was like, well, let's finish this block, and then we'll go around and head back. That was a mistake. We should have turned around and gone back right then. Should not have finished that block. And so walking back was rough, and at the end, by the time I got home, I was pretty sore. So that sucked. So I'm not going to do that again. Now I'm just kind of sitting around, laying around, trying to sit up as much as I can. I'll take little walks around the house. Like every time I have to go to the bathroom, I'll just kind of take the long way, loop around, just to kind of move around. Something that's really helpful is they have this, oh, where is it? This binder thing. It's like this really stretchy thing that you wrap around your belly. The Velcro is ridiculous on this. I don't understand. It is so hard to remove. But that just kind of squeezes everything tight, and it really does feel better. Just kind of holds everything in close and keeps things from wiggling around too much as you're moving. It makes it easier to breathe and to move and like walk around with that on. I actually even sleep with it on. The incision itself doesn't hurt that bad. I would say more of the pain that I experience comes more from, seems more internal, more pressure. Like there is a lot of bloating and fluid and gases. I guess when they cut you open, a lot of air gets in. And when I was reading about it online, a lot of people talk about constipation and whatnot. I haven't really experienced that, but buildup of gas and like feeling like you have to use the bathroom is pretty painful. I'm peeing way more than ever in my life. That part's kind of crazy, but I think that's just trying to get all the anesthesia and drugs and stuff out of my system. So that part surprised me. And just being kind of tired all the time. So laying around, starting to get bored, feeling better these days. So that's kind of where I am. Week 1, like I said, it's been about 4 days. I'm really just sitting around, laying around, trying not to laugh, trying not to cough. I would say the first day, the worst part of it was they put a tube down your throat during the surgery, and my throat felt so dry and raw and horrible afterwards the entire first day and half of the second day. So if you're going to be getting a hysterectomy, plan on that. Nobody told me about that. And have people have some lozenges or some popsicles or something. They gave me some ice cream that was pretty good. Jello was really nice. There was like some fruit cup Jello that felt a lot better on the throat. Water, I was drinking a ton of water, but it actually wasn't helping that much. Not with the scratchy roughness. Like that was more obnoxious and more bothered me more than the incisions and stuff. But that went away. Yeah, after about a day and a half, that was pretty much gone. So I think that's it. They put these steri strips on there, and it's starting to feel kind of itchy and kind of irritated. Not necessarily painful, but I'm more aware of the incision. And so I've been putting Aquaphor and just kind of, I try to let it air out as much as I can, but also putting the Aquaphor on there so it stays moist and trying not to scab and scar too much. We'll see how that goes. I haven't decided if I'm going to show you guys the incision or not, because it's down there, kind of getting to my private areas. I don't know if that's appropriate, but maybe I'll be nice and do it one day, or maybe be mean. I'm not sure. So that's where I'm at. I'm bored at home. If you have any good TV shows or something you recommend, or any things you think I can do prepping while I'm laid up here, I will take the suggestions. I think that's about it for this one, though. I'll update you again next week, let you know how it goes. See if I'm still on track. Right now I'm doing good. Hopefully nothing happens. And I've been sitting up for a while now, so I think it's time for me to lay down. All right. Thanks for watching.